I had relationships or friendships with several of the American soldiers, and at least two of them have visited me in my home. One in particular, Al, I remember him very well because I got to know these guys, and I got to go know these guys because of solitary confinement. Had I been in general population most of my time, I don't think those relationships would have ever built up, because it always would be a hostile situation, us and them in military combat gear, the US soldiers, and us in the orange. But in the uniqueness of being in solitary confinement in an enclosed room, there's nobody else, there's just you two, whoever it happens to be that's on duty at that time. So I got to know East Coasters, West Coasters, people from the Midwest, black, white, Hispanic, and everything in between. I have never been to America in my life, but America has been to me, and it showed me a face of it that I didn't know existed, in a place that most Americans don't know exists in that way, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And therein, speaking to some of these soldiers, sometimes being a mentor to them or an advisor or a guide about relationships, about history, about culture, about politics, it was absolutely unique. It cannot be replicated anywhere else in the world. And those friendships, understandings, and interactions developed to a point at which I knew that some of these guys will be friends for life. No matter what happens, I will always think about them, and vice versa. And there are a number of people I've spoken to, phoned, talked to on Facebook. I mean, well, the wonders of Facebook, there's so many former soldiers on there I'm talking to. And then from there, it developed into, I want to come over and visit you. And in the relation to this particular Al, he's a guy from, from the West Coast, and he always treated me like a human being. He bought me things that I think would have got him thrown out the army. Just little things, maybe a little piece of chocolate, maybe a little movie that he brings up on a portable DVD player. The first time I ever saw the film Snatch was in Guantanamo Bay, because Al showed it to me. And these little acts of humanity, which, as I said, they cannot be replicated. So when Al eventually came over here, he stayed at my house. He met my wife, he met my child, who was born when I was in Guantanamo. And I said to him, Al, you are my guest here. And my wife cooked for him, and he just like a brother. And I just said to him, this time, Al, I'm going to warn you, I got the keys. And we laughed. He met my dad, he went into the community with me. People gave a standing ovation when they saw him and me hug and embrace. And these sorts of things, people make films about many, many years later, how the American soldiers go and meet the Viet Cong that they had fought once, or soldiers, GIs who fought in World War II and met the Japanese. This is happening right now. So whilst people may say that quote unquote radical Islam and America and everybody else cannot meet, cannot talk, cannot come to an understanding, I say that's already happening, but people don't want to hear about it.
And yet there's not a lot of these incidents. This probably comes down to a certain amount of your personality here.
Yes, except for the fact that there was about 800 prisoners in Guantanamo, and each of them has their story. The difference is that because you and I are speaking English, and we are, by definition, by necessity, only speaking to the English-speaking world, the rest of the world speaks Arabic and Pashto and Farsi and Turkish and Uyghur and Swahili, and the list goes on. And each has their own experience. And I was only in Guantanamo and Bagram for 3 years. There are people that have been there for 14, 15 years, so their experience is a multitude of more times than my own. And we're just not hearing about it, that's all.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.